but I did prepare a written report of my presentation. I think I've got about some copies here, which maybe can be shared around. It's not a very long report. I think it's only 5 pages, but the spacing is also 1.5. So it's not too long, and it has got, I think, attachments, about 3 attachments to the report. So to avoid being misquoted, I'll just read my report, then we can go to the next session, if it pleases you, Chair.
Councillor, you may start. When I speak to you, you need to drop your mic. Yeah, you may start. We'll be following your reading, and then we can follow up with the report that you presented to us. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I, Wapona Kita, respectfully submit this written response to the ad hoc Parliamentary Committee on the Chikangawa plane crash inquiry, and this is pursuant to the summons to a witness which was served on me on the 16th of June 2026. And according to the summons, I have been requested to testify on the circumstances leading to the use of the military aircraft to carry the remains of the late RAF Kasambara SC, including how the aircraft was procured, the persons involved in the process, and any other information concerning the use of and the decision to use the military aircraft. I must state that I'm very grateful to the committee for affording me the opportunity to assist it in its inquiry. I do hope that my testimony will indeed assist the committee in obtaining a clear understanding of the circumstances surrounding the chartering and use of the aircraft in question. A bit of a background. The late RAF Kasambara SC was a distinguished lawyer, a former lecturer, businessman, and politician. And he enjoyed friendship and professional relationship with many people across the country. And I think even in this room, I know of so many of us who have been friends with RAF Kasambara, who have met, who have interacted because of RAF Kasambara. That's the kind of a person that he was. I needed to mention this background about who the kind of person he was, because it is necessary as to why I come into the picture of these whole proceedings. Regarding his death, first of all, I think it is important to understand that the late RAF Kasambara hailed from Katabe, but was based in Blantyre. And he died in Lilongwe. I think those facts are undisputable. And I'm sure we all know that to be the correct facts. So following his death, his remains were taken to Goodwill Mortuary for purposes of conducting an autopsy. The family subsequently decided that after the prayers at the mortuary, the remains would be transported by road to Blantyre to allow family members, friends, and colleagues based there in Blantyre to pay their last respects before proceeding to Nkatabe for burial. Accordingly, all the transportation arrangements at that stage were intended to be undertaken by road. Discussions regarding the chartering of the aircraft. A large number of people gathered at Goodwill Mortuary to pay their last respects to the deceased, and this is in Lilongwe. The Goodwill Mortuary we're talking about here is the one in Lilongwe. After the family announced the funeral program, several of the deceased friends who were present informally discussed the fact that traveling by road from Lilongwe to Blantyre and thereafter from Blantyre to Nkatabe would impose considerable physical as well as emotional strain upon the bereaved family. So it was during these informal discussions that the idea of chartering an aircraft from the Malawi Defense Force, which I should say Malawi Defense Force and or Malawi Air Force. I'm told they're different, but maybe we should talk of the Malawi Air Force in this regard, was proposed. And I was tasked by the group to coordinate this arrangement. Among those present at the mortuary was Professor Brigadier General Dan Kuwali, who, just like the late Laf Kasambara, is also a lawyer by profession and was also a friend to the deceased. And may need to add, he also comes from Hatabe, where Laf Kasambara came from. He was therefore there at the mortuary in his capacity as a friend and as a fellow mourner at that material time. And given his military background and experience, I did approach him and requested him to ascertain whether a military aircraft could be made available for charter to transport the remains of the late Laf Kasambara SC. Professor Kuwali made several telephone calls and subsequently informed me that an aircraft was available. I then relayed this information to the group of friends who were there, and they welcomed the proposal. The information was also communicated to the family through Mr. Charles Kasambara, who is a brother to the deceased, and was also grateful for this gesture from friends of Laf Kasambara. Quotation from the Malawi Air Force. So shortly after Professor Brigadier General Dan Kuwali sent me via WhatsApp a quotation issued by the Malawi Air Force for the charter of DO228 aircraft ambulance. And this was for the route Zomba, Blantyre, Mzuzu, Zomba. The quotation is dated 8th June 2024 and was issued, as I said, on Malawi Air Force letterhead and was signed on behalf by Brigadier General Kandula. The total cost for the quotation for the charter was 9,582,751 kwacha. I've attached a copy of this quotation to the report which I've circulated. And after receiving this quotation, I also shared it with the group. In fact, I should mention, so at that point in time, I think formed a WhatsApp group, Friends of Laf Kasambara. And that group, I was checking on my phone yesterday after getting the summons, I noticed it's still there. So all these documents, all this information was being shared on that WhatsApp group of Friends of Laf Kasambara. Contributions towards the cost of the flight. Following the decision to proceed with the charter, members of the group commenced making financial contributions towards the cost of the aircraft. The contributions were being channeled through Professor Brigadier General Dan Kuwali, but I was being copied in that communication relating to the contributions. And as I said, I do have a record of these contributions on my WhatsApp. Also, contributions were being channeled to myself, to my bank account. I also do have a record of the contributions which were channeled to my bank account. In addition, an accommodation quotation was also received from Sunbelt Mzuzu Hotel in respect of accommodation of the Malawi Defense Force pilots in the sum of 465,000 kwacha. This amount was also paid by one of the friends on the group. I don't think it would be necessary to mention the names, but I do have the names. I know each and every individual who made a contribution, that you can be rest assured that we have that list of the contributions. I think I've also shared to my report the invoice that we received from Mzuzu Hotel, as well as a proof of payment from a national bank account of one of the members, showing that it was actually paying for that accommodation at Mzuzu Hotel. That invoice from Mzuzu Hotel will show that it's being addressed to Professor Dan Kuwali, but it also expressly states that it's on behalf of the Kasambara family. I think that's just to connect that it was for purposes of what the group had been formed for. Route of the chartered flight. as reflected in the quotation issued by the Malawi Air Force, the agreed route for the chartered flight was Zomba, Blantyre, Zuzu, Zomba. The understanding among the group was that after the burial ceremony, the aircraft would return certain family members to Blantyre before proceeding to its base in Zomba, because the flight started from Zomba to pick up the remains in Blantyre, then to Mzuzu. So we thought that would be again the way back to its base. Importantly, there was no planned stopover in Lilongwe under the charter arrangement made by the group of friends. Regarding my nature of involvement, and I'm saying for the avoidance of doubt, my role in the entire process was limited to coordinating communication among the friends of the late Ralph Kasambara and facilitating the mobilization of financial contributions towards the cost of the charter. I had no authority to requisition, deploy, or authorize the use of the military aircraft. Equally, I had no direct dealings with officers of the Malawi Air Force regarding the operational aspects of the flight, the assignment of the crew, the flight plan, or any subsequent movements of the aircraft. All communications relating to the availability of the aircraft and the quotation to charter were conveyed to me through Professor Brigadier General Dan Kuwali, who had been approached by the group through me because of his military legal background and his ability to ascertain whether such an arrangement could be made. And finally, my understanding throughout was that the arrangement was a private charter intended solely to assist the bereaved family of the late Ralph Kasambara SC. I was not involved in any way in decisions relating to the aircraft beyond the route for which the charter had been arranged and paid for. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Council, for your submission, which makes life easier for us. It's written, and we have the records here. And you have also taken an oath to what you have presented. Members may want to seek further clarification or ask any questions pertaining to your role, because prior to your coming, we had the brother Charles Kasambara in here, who also gave an account of how events unfolded. And your name was also mentioned in there, that you played a part. So members may want to verify certain facts from what we heard and from what you have explained. May I open the floor to members? So for the sake of logical sequence, I'll start from here one by one, limiting members to 2, maximum 3 questions until the very end. Zomba Tondwe.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Council. Earlier, I want to ask a question about the receipt. During your presentation, you presented evidence on receipts, but missing is a receipt covering your payment for the actual charter. I'm aware it was mentioned that a payment of 6 million was done. So we just wanted to know, was it an MDF receipt? I mean, did you get a receipt for the same? And what are the major details like? Was it an MDF receipt, or in whose name was it? So we can relate with the other ones. Thank you. And possibly how much, if you may confirm the 6 million figure. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Mayani?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, our Council. I just wanted you to confirm if, apart from the figures that have been put there, were there any other arrangements, possibly from the government, to come in to assist, knowing that the deceased was a former cabinet member and that there is going to be a state funeral in the end. So I just wanted you to confirm to this committee if government at any time came in to assist in any way or got involved with the arrangements apart from what you had submitted in terms of the charter. Thank you.
Chair Udzonzimvai.
Thank you so much, Chair, for allowing the people of Cheuzozvai to ask a question to Council Wapona Gita. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I understand, according to your explanation, I understand you are the one who did all the bookings. Of course, you said you had a support team. Thank you so much. Referring to what I have, one question. I would like to know from you if there was some technical issues the time you were booking, unusual occurrences or operational concerns observed before or during the flight. Thank you.
A last question so he can respond. Then we proceed to the next round. There's Agasina.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good evening, Castle. It's a nice experience because in other world you are the one posing questions, but this evening we are privileged to be the one asking questions and then you'll be responding. As the Chair had said, we had before you we had the elder brother of late Kasambara, Mr. Charles Kasambara. I hope you know him. He had made some statements which I had personally asked, and he referred your name to it. So I wanted you to confirm. In his statement, he had said when you had made the arrangements to book this flight, you were told that the airport in Zuzu, the lights were faded, kind of. So they needed to finish the mass service in Blanta in time so that they arrive in Zuzu in good time because of the lights issues at Zuzu airport. And also, upon the procuring the service of this plane, you were given a number of 9 people to be in that plane. And the very lastly, he had said there was a communication that the Vice President will use the same plane the next day to and from Zuzu. And these 3 statements, according to him, you are the communication point between family and the friends of Kasambara. I would want you to confirm that statement. And very lastly, I was looking at just a supplementary to what Zomba Tondo had asked. I was looking at your quotation. It's aviation fuel, 5-point-something million, payable to Puma Energy. There's a breakdown on operational costs payable to Malawi Air Force Headquarters, allowances payable to Staff Sergeant Michael Masamba, sundries payable to GPQ Plus, grand total 9.5 million, thereabout. So maybe while you're responding to Zomba Tondo a question, were you paying directly to these service providers, or you just pay a lump sum amount to MDF and they issue the receipt to you, or you're paying to these? Because these are on your invoice. As a Chair.
Council, you may take those set of questions, probably about 7, or if not 8 of them. But thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll go like backwards. I'll start with the last question on the how were the amounts on the quotation being paid. So as I said, these amounts were the 9.5 is the friends who decided, right? So we can manage amongst ourselves to raise that much. Okay, and the people started raising that money right at the mortuary. And I have information, I think one member paid 3 million, another member paid 2 million, so already at 5 million from 2 people at the mortuary. And I then got a text from Brigadier General to say we have received 3 million and 5 million towards, and he mentioned the names, towards the charter. There will be a balance, okay, which has to be paid. I hope you communicate to the family members. So that actually gave us the comfort that already, if you can see from the quote, 5 million, that's for fuel only. So at least we had paid for the fuel and the arrangement where they could start off. I think that was a massive operational cost and all that. And the arrangement was that we'll pay the balance, I think, before they get back to Zomba, because we were sure that we'll raise that money within that funeral period. And taking into account that this was I think there was also some trust, a high level of trust involved. We're in a situation where we didn't really want to rush asking for receipts. We wanted a service. And we're dealing with people whom Brigadier Kowal is a lawyer, is a senior to us, and he's a man of high caliber. We couldn't doubt that the money was going for its intended purpose. And we couldn't doubt that we were going to get a receipt because, in fact, yeah, we too had to account to our members. So the money was given, and indeed, the arrangement for the flights were being made. But as you can see, it wasn't the whole amount. The arrangement was that we'll pay I think it was the balance of 4 million plus after the trip is finalized. And maybe now I'll go to answer another question which came up. So when we were at the funeral in Katabe, Honorable Harem Kandawire spoke on behalf of government. And one of the things which he said, and this is on record, I think it was live on Zodiac, if you can get a record. One of the things he said as contribution by government was that it had chartered the flight, which to us came as a shock. Says, no, these are contributions. How does government says, no, I've contributed by chartering the flight for the family? So we had to decide as a group, what do we do? And I think the decision we made is that they will not pay the balance, and we haven't paid the balance up to now, because the government told us that it chartered the flight, that we made a payment, well, they also chartered, but those are the facts which we have. So maybe that should also answer. I think there was another question, I think along those lines about the balance and how was the money paid. Confirmation on whether I knew that the VP would be on the plane, on this plane the next day and fly back. No, I was not aware of this arrangement that the VP would be on this plane the following day. News that the VP is coming to attend the funeral came to us around 2:08. That's on 9th. The same day that the flight arrived in Mzuzu, around 2:08. That's when on our group we got the news. And I think it was Lusungu Gondwe was there as well. So he had received a message from the DC from Katabe that we have heard that the vice president is coming, and as government we must be there to welcome him. So that's when we also got to know that, the vice president is coming. It wasn't that. If I might have confirmed, I may have confirmed after I got that fact from the group that the DC is asking about the protocols and all that. That there were 9 people who were supposed to be flown. Yes, that is correct. The manifest, that's the language they use. The manifest showed 9 people plus casket. That's the total of the number of people who were on that flight. To confirm that there were no lights at the airport, or there was a problem with the lights at the Mzuzu airport. Yes, that is true. because I was there. I had driven, I didn't go to Blantyre, so I had driven as advance party to Mzuzu and to welcome the remains as they are alive. We were at the airport from around 3, because that's the time we were expecting the flight from Blantyre to arrive. It only arrived, I think, when dark was starting, should have been around 6-ish. And yes, there was a problem of lights at the airport. In fact, as I'm saying, the time we were expecting them to arrive took longer than expected. And we also started wondering, why are they delaying? And then we were told, well, they need to go through Ikwendeni and come okay, this side into Mzuzu because of the status of the Mzuzu airport. Technical issues about the booking or the operational requirements of the plane, I think it's the same which I've said. We just wondered why would the plane delay, okay, arriving from Blantyre. We were told it has started off from Blantyre, okay, by the airport staff. And they said it would be Mzuzu. I don't know what period it was, but it really took more than what was there. And we started getting worried to say what is happening. We were not in the plane. We really don't know what happened for them to take that long to arrive in Mzuzu. I was also asked to confirm if there was any arrangement from government to assist. I think that's the one which I've mentioned. I don't know of any arrangement apart from what was said that, well, government has chartered the flight. So maybe we both contributed to the chartering of the flight. About the receipts covering the payment, I think I also answered that, I think, with the other questions. And I think those are the questions which I took down, Chair.
Okay, I think you have addressed all the questions that were made. And I have another round of questions. Kadabe North, Mwanza Central, in that order, Blantyre Malabada, all the way to Doha, and then Kasungu. And we'll wind up here with Zomba.
Thank you, Chair, for giving the people of Kadabe North question to ask Council. Council, you said on your presentation that the original plan for the transportation of late Kasambara was using byload. And then what changes the plan from the original? Is it a committee or the family member? Secondly, I'm glad to know, I'm glad that you have told the committee that you were there at the airport by the time we was waiting for the remain of Laf Kasambara. Would you tell us what the condition or weather condition was that there at a particular time when he was waiting for the Laf Kasambara remain? Thank you.
Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Council. In your report, you have indicated that the group contributed funds for accommodation of crew at Sunbird Mzuzu. I just want you to confirm if indeed that money was paid to Sunbird Mzuzu, number one. Two, if it was paid, did your group probably receive a credit note that maybe service was not rendered to the crew? Then the last one, Council, I want to find out from you. You have indicated that you only knew about the late Vice President's presence or attendance at 8:08. I assume that time you were already at Nkatabe. Was there any change of program that you noticed? Because the initial program apparently, from the information that we got from Mr. Charles Kasambara, is that the program was drawn on the 9th in Blantyre. That program in Mzuzu will start at 10 a.m. And when you got the news that the late Vice President was attending the funeral, did you see any change of program, or the program remained as it was? Thank you very much.
Blantyre, Labada.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to inquire into the capacity in which Professor Brigadier General Dan Kowali was acting at that particular time. Was he employed by the MDF or MAF? Number two, I would like to find out from the presentation, page number 2, autopsy has been mentioned. I'd like to find out from the council if the autopsy was actually carried out and you got the report. Number 3, I'd like to find out if the committee on that particular day had followed a particular provision of standard practice for the procurement of the military aircraft, or Professor Brigadier General Dan Kowali had advised the committee that they would have to go through official channels for the procurement. Thank you.
Next.
Thank you very much, Chair, for giving the people of Lower Kasangadzi the opportunity to ask the council here a few questions. But before I ask my questions, I would like to declare that I know Council Wapona Kita as a professional colleague. I have a few questions, Councillor. My understanding...
I hope this is not payback time for the court questions.
No, not at all. My understanding from your explanation is that you did not have time to draw up a charter party, the agreement between the family and the Malawi Defense Force. I would like you to confirm about the period of the charter. Was it for a day or 2 days or 3 days? And the other question is that when the plane was being temporarily withdrawn from the charter arrangement to fly the Vice President, were you communicated, and what was the reaction of the friends of Kasambara who had arranged the charter? Thank you very much.
Last one. Kasungu North.
Thank you, Chair. Last question indeed from Kasungu North. Council, I have heard that the government announced that they have assisted the family by chartering a plane. That means the government paid for that. And you already paid the deposit of 6 million. Why didn't you just get back that money back and give to the family as condolence? Thank you.
Zomba City South, which will be the last one.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good evening, Council. Mine are 2 questions, Council, through the Chair. Just confirm to this group that you participated in the drawing of the funeral program on the 9th. And if so, maybe this question has been asked already, but I just want confirmation. If you participated, at that point, we presume that it was not yet known that this will be a state funeral. So you might want to confirm that. Second, Chair, Council, please advise this committee what time exactly the funeral ceremony started in Nkatabe, since you were present. Finally, you did talk about the manifest, the number of passengers on the plane. You said 9, passengers. I would like also to confirm that because in the Commission of Inquiry report on page 17, the manifest says 9 passengers, 3 crew members, and 1 silent soul. So I'd like to confirm that indeed there were 9 passengers, not total number of people in the plane, but 9 passengers, 3 crew, and 1 silent soul. I submit, Chair.
Kasa, you may take these questions.
It's probably the family which communicated perhaps to MTF or to Professor Dan Kuwali about the actual number of people. But Dan Kuwali came to me to, in fact, to just tell me that, okay, we have received a manifest of 9 people plus casket. That was the language. How we interpret that, whether the 9 includes the crew, I'm not sure. Whether the 9 were just the family members, I'm not very sure. But at least from my side, the record which I have is that they received a manifest of 9 people plus the casket. Regarding what time did the funeral start? If I go by the WhatsApp chat group which we had, around 11:43 a.m. there was a message sent by one of the members that the ceremony is starting, but the VP is not yet here. So I can say the ceremony started at around 11:43, because I have a text of someone saying the ceremony has started, but the Vice President is not here. Yeah. If I participated in the drawing up of the program, I was aware of the program being drawn up, and actually our group was organizing the drawing up of the program in consultation with the family. So as I think just before we got communication that the Vice President was attending, the program had not yet been finally drawn up. Actually, we were still pushing each other, because that was around 7 o'clock in the evening. We were still pushing each other. And I think there was a delay because I think on the list of who's going to speak, who's going to read the refs, was not yet given to us by the family. So the responsibility was for us to draw up that full program, but we didn't have the full information from the family as late as 7 p.m. But after 7 p.m., after we got to know about the Vice President coming, then I think an hour later, if again go by our chat up messages, a program was drawn up, and it included the Vice President speaking at the funeral. I do have that program. I could share maybe to Honorable Kaspartige, and you can share it with the group. You can see, I think we're supposed to start with breakfast, is it 8 o'clock, and all that. We're supposed to leave after Mass to go to the graveyard around, should be 1:45 or somewhere there, if I'm not mistaken. So it has got all the timelines, and I think it ends there. About what happens at the graveyard, I think that one is not timed. It is just left open-ended. But yes, the program is there. It was drawn up, and as I think it was Rusungu Gondo in particular who was tasked to liaise with the family to draw up, and is the one who sent it to the group that here's the program, the final program. As to why we did not pay back the money to the contributors after government said it had chartered, well, it never occurred to us. I think we all just moved on with life after that. Nobody really wanted to come back and start raising queries, give us back our money. Maybe they would have also said, no, give us back our balance. So, because we were still contracted to them for, the minister may have just been speaking that at the funeral. People say a lot of things at the funeral, even when they don't, or they don't have instructions to say some of those things. But we left it like that. Nobody really wanted to get back and start querying each other. Where's the money or what happened? At least we got the service that we wanted, although not completely. Yeah. Whether we were informed about the withdrawal of the plane to Qatar for the Vice President, personally, I was not aware. I was not even aware that the Vice President was going to come by the same plane that was in Mzuzu. That was not part of our arrangement. I think it must have been a government arrangement to do that. We never we didn't know that, as I'm saying, we didn't know that it was going to be the same plane to pick the president to Mzuzu and back. On the charter party and the period when we were supposed to access the plane, well, all we were sure of was that the plane would fly back the family members after the burial. Yes, that was our agreement. Yeah, that it will, at least it will not leave Mzuzu until after the burial ceremony is done. And some of the members, may not be all, but at least it will fly back with some of the members of the family to Blantyre. Yeah. Was there an autopsy carried out? Yes, there was an autopsy carried out. The results were made, but not to the public, neither to me. I don't know what were the results of the autopsy. They were shared to the family. In what capacity was Professor Dan Kuwali acting, and whether he had followed the procurement procedures? He was, I would put it, he was acting as a friend. We were at a funeral, and sometimes everybody wants to be seen to be helping. And it's us who reached out to him, because he came there to mourn for Love Kasambara, but knowing that he's in the MDF and he's a lawyer, and it was easy to approach him. And we're not approaching him to cut any corners, no. We were approaching him to help us, to get to the right people. And he took it upon himself to get to the right people. He sourced the quotation for us. You see the quotation which I've shared. It's not even signed by him. It's signed by another person. And he only forwarded it to us. To say, okay, your request, I forwarded it to the right people, and they have sent us the quotation. Here's your quotation. So he only came in to assist. And I think he did a good job for us. Wouldn't, if it were not for him being present at that point in time, I don't think we would have managed to go that far with the hiring of the aircraft. Yeah. I don't know, I think maybe I didn't get this one corrected. I think there was a question about whether I had knowledge of the vice president. Was there a change of program? I don't know, I think.
No, I think the one that is remaining, Chair, is about Sunbird. Yeah. The receipts are there, I've seen them. The payment receipts are there, but I want you to confirm if there was a credit note issued to the group from Sunbird or not. There's a reason why we need that information.
Okay, from the evidence that I have, because that was like disbursements, that was that money didn't go to MDF. That money was sent to the pilot. And if you look at that, the account number on that proof of payment, it's an account number of the late pilot who was flying that plane. I think it's for 3 people, accommodation for 3 people, and dinner. So we sent that money directly to him because of the urgency of the matter, so that they go and pay for themselves at the hotel. That is what we did. Thank you.
Chair, supplementary.
Sorry. Chair, I think my question I haven't heard.
You go through the chair, I need to recognize, otherwise there will be chaos.
Sorry, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, so, Zomba City, South, Zomba Tondwe, and Nkarabe North. I think that should be the last one.
Thank you, Chair. Supplementary to what the Council has responded in relation to my questions. Council, you have said you got a text message around 11:43 a.m. from someone who was at a funeral saying the funeral had started. Is that correct?
No, I was present myself at the funeral, so that member must have been sending. Actually, I can confirm, yes, it started around that time because I was there. So, okay, so some members were there, but because it was a group of friends, so other friends didn't make it to the funeral. But perhaps that friend was communicating for purposes of everybody who was in the group that the funeral service has started, but the vice president is not there. In fact, it was raining heavily on that day. That could also have contributed. We couldn't start the function there were heavy rains in Mzuzu as well as in Katabe. So it might also have contributed to the rate of the start of the program, with or without the other factors, but it started around that time. Yeah.
No, Chair, I wanted him to confirm because someone saying function has started, it does not mean that exactly at that time it has started. It might have started in our area. It has still started. So I just wanted that to be on record. Chair, the council has also said the program was drawn up, the funeral program, around 8 p.m. after he had known through his DC for Katabe that the VP would be coming. Chair, we might want to triangulate that because Charles, who was here before him, participated also in the drawing of the funeral program. And if I remember correctly, the program was drafted before he knew that the VP would be coming. I submit.
Somba Tondwe, and then
I think, Chair, I wanted to say the same things, especially on the time, because I was looking at the difference, comparing what Charles said and what he said. But earlier on, he had said that we have a message somewhere. So I was going to ask for evidence on the message. But again, if you say it has started, it may not necessarily mean it's starting that time. So I just wanted to be on the same page with him for the sake of the record. Say, unless you provide us with the evidence to give us a picture that at least by that time, the function had started, but it not necessarily meaning that it was starting that time. So through you, Chair, that was my concern. The other one malies with what Zombara City South has said. Thank you.
Karabe North, you may wrap up.
Thank you, Chair. I think Council has tackled my questions. I was the first person to ask. I just wanted to understand who changes the original plan of transportation. Another one, it was about the weather, because you were there at the airport, were waiting for the remaining of the rate of Kasambara. Can you tell us the weather? What was the weather at that particular time? Thank you.
Okay, you may have a final one, and then we close.
Okay, no, thank you very much. I just wanted to request Council to send the program that they have in on your WhatsApp group to Secretariat of Parliament. That's it. That's all from me, Chair.
Thank you. I was going to request for the same. It's Mayani. You have, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't want to ask you this a follow-up question. My clarification that I would like the Council to offer to this committee is about the program. When you say the funeral program, were you separating the prayers, such as the Mass, versus the speeches, which might have an allocated time? So I wanted to know, even if in your drawn program, how was that differentiated? Because the sequence of events, because I wanted to refer the Chair to the idea that the one who was saying the program has started might be referring to the speeches, or I wanted to differentiate with the program has started referring to the prayers, which was the Mass itself. So I wanted to see that timing. Thank you, Chair, for that final.
Councillor, you may respond to the last round of questions.
Okay, so at 11:43 a.m., there was a message from one of our friends, Mike Ongwira. And he was saying, thank you so much, all is well here. Rain has stopped a bit. The program is underway, starting with Mass. But VP is not yet here. That's at 11:43. So yeah, we cannot say with certainty that that's when it was starting. But at 11:43, we have a member, okay, communicating to other friends that the program is underway, which is mass. Yeah, I think that the record should reflect that. Yes, regarding the sequence of the program, so as I had said, according to the timing, the official program started from 8 o'clock a.m. with breakfast, then 9:30 hours church service, then 11 o'clock lunch, then speeches, 11:45. So the speeches, then you have opening prayer, Kasambara family, Namazinga family, MP, former vice president, law society, the judiciary, and it goes on like that. I will share it, but I'm just being curious because as I'm reading it, it says former vice president and not vice president on the order of speeches. Okay, I'll send it to you, Council, then maybe. And this was being shared on the group at 10:52 a.m.
Since we are dealing with lawyers, Council, is it possible, Chair, through you, if he can, he's mentioning the time, if it is possible when he's sharing with the Secretariat that he gets a screenshot on where the location and what, so that maybe we know really that it is still on that day. I just wanted to make sure because I don't have access to his phone, but if he can share where the program was posted and the screenshot that it's here, and then he shares because his curiosity is what also is coming to me. Thank you. On the former, the addressing. Thank you.
I have no problem with that. I think it's all about getting to the bottom of it all. So there's nothing to hide. That's why we're here. So if this will help, I'll do share with the committee. Yeah. Regarding the weather, this is the weather on the morning of the 10th, I guess.
Point of order, Chair. I'd like to request that maybe you may need to give guidance on how that should be sent to the committee.
So the summons came to the Secretariat. Your engagement remains with the Secretariat. So you must send it to the Secretariat. But I just wanted to ask, your program, are you reading from a PDF file or a WhatsApp text? Okay, that's very critical. Okay. You may proceed to answer the last questions.
Yes, I was talking about the weather. The weather on the evening when the flight was arriving from Blantyre, it was okay. It wasn't a bad weather. It was just chilly, the normal weather in Mzuzu. But it wasn't crowded or foggy or anything like that. But the weather in the morning, it was a bad weather. I can say that for a fact. Because I even have a video. As we were driving from Zuzu to Nkatabe, we were actually surprised. Are we going to arrive? Because it was so foggy. Whatever you're trying to do, you couldn't see where you're going and how far you're going. And I do have a video for that, which I can also share with the Secretariat for your own appreciation. But all I can say that the weather was bad. It was foggy and drizzling that morning. I believe I've answered all the supplementary questions as well.
No, thank you, Council.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay.
But then I just would like to find out if I should forward the program, which Council has sent me, because he has already forwarded it to me, or we should wait for him to send the program to the Secretariat.
No, you can keep that We'll still ask the Council to send his to Secretariat. Okay. Council, I think this marks the end of our hearing, and we appreciated the time that you've spent with us, your willingness to volunteer information. You've taken great effort to explain the events, surrounding the funeral arrangements, which we highly appreciate, and we thank you for your presence. You were informed at short notice yesterday, and you made yourself available. It just underscores the kind of relationship you had with the late Raf Kasambara and the seriousness you have towards the national duty. So we highly appreciate, and I have no doubt we will continue our interactions. If you have no further questions or comments to make, you may take leave, but you can make your last sentiments before you go.
Well, all I can say is that thank you very much for the invite which you gave me. As you said, though it was a short notice, but I thought obliged that there are some things which perhaps I knew, which nobody knew, and which perhaps people wanted to know, so that even yourselves and the public out there makes an objective decision or take a proper position regarding the way the events unfolded, rather than just relying on rumors or lies for that matter. But some of us were part and parcel of the hiring process of this plane we had started from, and so we had some information which we thought perhaps needed to be shared. Moving forward, I wish you the very best, and I do hope you will invite the people who will help you to get to the bottom of this inquiry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council. You may take your bottle of water.
Well, that's the conclusion of today's witness engagement in regards to the plane crash inquiry. A recap of what transpired today. 4 witnesses have presented their evidence to the ad hoc committee, and the first to make the presentation was Honorable Charles Muhango, who is the Minister of Justice. He made a presentation on the gaps which were found in the previous reports regarding the same inquiry. The second was was Justin Saidi, who is the Chief Secretary. He presented the procedures which govern the official travel in regards to the VP's office, and he explained everything, including the communications which were made from the office and to other government authorities. The third was the was Charles Kasambara, who is a relation to the late Ralph Kasambara. He had to explain the events that happened after the death of Kasambara. Just a recap on what happened by that particular time. Ralph Kasambara, the body of late Ralph Kasambara was ferried by the same plane that crashed on 10 June, claiming the lives of the former late Vice President, South Cross Silima, and late others. And on this 10th day, the President was in transit to attend the funeral ceremony of late Kasambara. Last week, just now, it was Napona Kita, who is a friend to Ralph Kasambara. He had to explain his involvement during the arrangement of Kasambara's funeral ceremony. Mene mondi mene tamalizira lero komiti mene yapadera imene kufufuzaza ngozi ya ndege imene inachitika pa 10 June 2024 yomwe inapha wachiwiri kwa president pa nthawiyo South Cross Chilima ndi anthu ena 8. Tingokumbusana zimene zachitika lero komiti yakumana ndi mboni zinayi, ndipo woyamba kukumana nawo anali Charles Muhango amene wandi nduna yoona za chilungamo. Iwo anafotokoza za mipata imene inalipo pa maripoti amene anaperekedwa okhuza inquiry yomwe okhuza inquiry imene amene anachitika mbuyomu. Achiwiri kukumana nawo anali Justin Saidi amene ali mlembi wa boma. Iwo anafotokozerapo ndondomeko zimene zimachitika, ndandanda amene amachitika pakakhala ulendo wa boma, komanso kulumikizana kwa office ya president ndi mabungwe ena aboma pa nkhani ya kuyenda ulendo wa boma. So umene unachitika pa 10 June umenewu wa Vice President. Achitatu anali achibale kwa Ralph Kasambara amene wa Charles Kasambara. Malemu Ralph Kasambara thupi lawo linanyamulidwa pa 9 June kupita ku Nkarabe komwe kumachitika mwambo oyika thupi lawo, ndi pa 10 June ndege yomweyi ndimene anakweramo malemu wa Vice President kupita kukakhala nawo pa mwambo omwewo. Ndi iwo amafotokozerapo mmene anayendesera zinachitikira kuti akhale kuti akugwiritsa ntchito ndege yomweyi, komanso zinachitikira pamene iwonso amayembekeza kuti president, Vice President awenera kukhala pa mwambowo koma sanafike. Ndi amafotokozera komiti zimene zinachitika. Ndipo pomaliza apa panali Wapona Kita amene anali anzawo amalemu Ralph Kasambara, amafotokozera komiti mbali yawo imene anachita pokonzekera mwambo wa malemu Kasambara, kuti iwo anachita chani, anapanga za ndege kuti nyamule thupi la malemu Kasambara ndi ndani. Ndafotokozera komiti gawo lawo limene anatenga pokhuza mwambo wa maliro malemu Ralph Kasambara. Komiti iyi ikhala ikupitirira mawa kukumana ndi mboni zosiyanasiyana kuti kukumana ndi mboni zosiyanasiyana, pakuti ayamba lero kukumana ndi mbonizi kufikira pa 1 July, ndi akhala akufufuza kukumana ndi osiyanasiyana mpaka na pa nthawiyo. Tikupemphani kuti mupitirize kuonera Parliament Broadcasting pamene ikhale ikubweretsa zokambirana zonse tsiku ndi tsiku live pa Facebook komanso pa YouTube. Dzina langa ndi Fane Mbwana, mwakoma nonse.